Welcome back to the Roundtable. I'm Vox, and Samurai Jack's legacy seems as if it'll last just as long as the titular hero's journey. Which is to say, for a very long time, on account of the franchise getting a new installment every few years. Even after its abrupt end in 2004, those who grew up with Samurai Jack never really forgot about it. When it came to the conversation of the best cartoons, especially those from one's childhood, Samurai Jack would always find its way into the conversation. Especially because everyone wanted to know, does this man ever get back to the past? Or was that tasty ass theme song going to have zero payoff? Well, 2013 rolled around and we got a new line of Samurai Jack comics. A narrative that, although not animated, seemed as if it was going to provide us a definitive answer once and for all, and finally conclude this story 9 years later. The comics came to a close in 2015 with an open-ended conclusion, with Jack amassing a large army of characters from throughout the series, approaching Aku's quarters, with the implication that they will win the battle. Yet we still didn't actually get that clash between Jack and Aku. The satisfaction of a final battle and closure. Well, a few months after the comics concluded, Adult Swim announced that Samurai Jack would be returning for a 5th and final season, one with a grittier, darker tone. Well, 2017 came, we got this final season, and it had one of the more controversial endings. Something that already kinda came off as a forced romance, had an even more forced conflict in the form of a very confusing and forced death, because it's one that should have happened instantaneously and not an undetermined amount of time later. Ultimately one of the greatest revivals in television, and make no mistake, this season had a fantastic start, went out with a whimper. All the elements were there, but the army of returning characters didn't really do anything that stuck with the audience. Jack's time in the future ultimately had no send-off. There was no big final battle with Aku. And again, Jack's forced romance of Ashi ultimately amounted to nothing, as she dies for the sake of a Gurren Lagann reference. Somehow Samurai Jack came back with a phenomenal story and execution, but dropped the ball even before the finale, and just left everyone kinda underwhelmed. Like, discussion on this revival ceased pretty much immediately after the finale. But that was all she wrote. Samurai Jack returned. For one reason or another, it didn't stick the landing, but its legacy wasn't really tarnished, though that probably has to do with the fact that the series became so big, and only so many people watched the revival. Sure, looking back at it, it did retain around 1 million viewers each week. I would not consider it a failure in any way, shape, or form, but that's only 1 million people on top of whoever pirates it, on top of the millions who watched it growing up, watched it after its initial conclusion, and likely never heard about the revival due to its time of release coinciding with the rise of streaming and more consumers cutting the cable cord. But it seems like Samurai Jack is giving itself one last shot to give a truly satisfying story, and that is with the new video game Samurai Jack Battle Through Time, which the game's own social media made a post clarifying that the events of this game are canon, which immediately caught my attention because I feel as if this wouldn't have been a statement unless they were giving us a new ending. Something that will help satisfy viewers that have been invested in this story for almost 20 years. Now, when the game initially was announced, it made headlines, but we didn't really know what to expect from the story. It just seemed as if it'd be going through the motions of the original series, while being off the premise of the revival, with exact dialogue pulled from those episodes, mainly Jack's monologue referring to the 50-year time skip that took place in between the original 4 seasons and the 5th season. However, in making this video, and speculating on the prospect of a new ending, I stumbled upon information from Paxies that gives much more context into how this game plays into the Samurai Jack canon. Turns out, not only are a whole lot of characters going to appear, such as Ashi, the Scotsman, his daughters, Scaramouche, and even Damongo, but details of when exactly the game takes place. Turns out, it's during the 2017 series finale. It seems that they're approaching this from the mindset of this is a new ending, but more so because it's an expansion to that story. When Ashi discovers she has Aku's powers, creating a portal in time and sending Jack back to the past, instead of providing a straight shot through, Aku intervenes, removing Jack from the portal and trapping him in a place between time, where Jack will have to relive every struggle and every challenge he's ever encountered. Now, from a business standpoint, this is the way to create a Samurai Jack video game that fits into the story without only being 3 or 4 hours long. I would argue this is the perfect climax for the series that the original series was lacking. It takes on the premise of time travel and Jack being thrown into the future and utilizing it for a final conflict. It kinda makes sense that before he returned to the past, he would have to endure everything the future has taught him, and have this trip down memory lane accumulate in a proper final battle between him and Aku. I can't imagine it going down any other way, and I'm glad they are acknowledging, yeah, Jack should have had an actual full-out battle with Aku. And I'm glad instead of trying to force a new ending through a comic or animated series, they decided to tell the story in a medium that the series isn't a stranger to. We had a console Samurai Jack game in the past, but it's also the best medium to provide this story because it isn't just throwing a clip show at us. It allows us to experience these events through a brand new lens, and in a way, make us earn the satisfaction of Jack truly defeating Aku, besting him not just in wit, but in combat. It's that insult to injury that we really needed. But who knows how far this can go, because when you meddle with timelines, you usually don't do so in the attempts of giving us the exact same ending. Perhaps Aku's meddling with time travel will provide us with a happier conclusion for Jack. That something happens through the events of this game, and by the end of the final scene of the entire franchise, where Jack is in his own solitude, admiring a ladybug that reminds him of Ashi, somehow an Ashi from a different timeline emerges. I don't fucking know. I just think it'd be strange to bring back Samurai Jack in this new adventure, claim it's canon, insert it during the events of the series finale, but not provide a happier ending for our king. Also, can we finally find out what his name is? Please and thank you. But as always, these are just my thoughts, and I want to hear yours. What do you think? Will you be picking up Samurai Jack Battle Through Time? And what do you hope we get out of this new ending? Again, because of when the events of this game take place, I'm just expecting a final proper battle between Jack and Aku, but if there's curveballs, I definitely want to pick your brain and get your thoughts in the comments below. Or tweet your thoughts at Roundtable Vids. And for more of my own thoughts, you can find me at AwestruckVox. We're also on Instagram. Help the Roundtable grow by either becoming a member of this channel or supporting us over at Patreon. Link in the description. If you enjoyed this video, please throw it a like and subscribe to the Roundtable for more great cartoon content. Thank you for watching, and I hope you have an awesome day. AwestruckVox, signing out.